Welcome to the KZGN News. Today we'll bring you news from the Ridgecrest Police Department, Sacramento, and today's Talking Points editorial and more.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyokern and China Lake, this is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News crew.
Hello, I'm Tom Wicknick. Thanks for joining us for the news. The Ridgecrest Police Department provided the following release. Click It or Ticket campaign starts May 18th, next Monday. Ridgecrest Police Department will show zero tolerance. Once again, Ridgecrest Police Department is reminding motorists to click it or ticket. As part of the National Seatbelt Enforcement Campaign, law enforcement agencies around the country will be stepping up enforcement May 18th through 31st. This includes one of the busiest travel weekends of the year that kicks off the summer season. Every day, unbuckled motorists are losing their lives in motor vehicle crashes, said Sergeant Myers of the Ridgecrest Police Department. As we approach Memorial Day weekend and the summer vacation season, we want to make sure people are doing the one best thing that can save them in a crash, buckling up. According to the National Highway Safety Administration, nearly half of the 21,000 passenger vehicle occupants killed in crashes in 2013 were unrestrained. At night, from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., that number soared to 59% of those killed. That's why one focus of the Click It or Ticket campaign is nighttime enforcement. Participating law enforcement agencies will be taking no excuses approach to seatbelt law enforcement, writing citations day and night. In California, the minimum penalty for a seatbelt violation is $161. California statistics reveal that 500 unrestrained vehicle occupants died in 2013. Almost twice as many males were killed in crashes as compared to females, with lower belt use rates as well. Of the males killed in crashes in 2013, more than half, 54%, were unrestrained. For females killed in crashes, 41% were not buckled up. If you ask the family members of those unrestrained people who were killed in crashes, they'll tell you they wish their loved ones had buckled up. Added Sergeant Myers, the bottom line is that seatbelts save lives. If these enforcement crackdowns get people's attention and get them to buckle up, then we've done our job. In news from Sacramento, Assemblywoman Shannon Grove has introduced legislation this session to close California's few remaining developmental centers and move those housed there into community-based settings. The developmental centers, state-owned and operated facilities responsible for housing individuals with developmental disabilities, have recently gone under scrutiny for well-documented cases of abuse, rape, and neglect against residents. Assembly Bill 1405 calls for the timely closure of two of California's most expensive developmental centers and establishes a process for redirecting state funds toward community-based service programs. Unimaginable abuse and neglect has occurred within these developmental centers for years. Assemblywoman Shannon Grove said, "It is time we shut them down for good, so those with developmental disabilities can receive the care they deserve in smaller community-based facilities." Developmental centers have been operating in California since 1888, but the number of residents in the centers has declined substantially in recent decades. Recent numbers show just over 1,000 individuals still living in the developmental centers, compared to over 256,000 individuals with developmental disabilities living in community-based settings. The 2015-16 state budget proposal outlines an expenditure of $530 million for those 951 residents, for an average of over $567,000 per person annually. The budget also provides for over 4,300 staff positions in the developmental centers, and the funding for the centers has held relatively steady even as caseload has declined. In contrast, the California Department of Developmental Services provides community-based service programs on average of just $16,000 per person living in the community. The California Department of Public Health recently released documents directly attributing the deaths of 13 developmental center residents to abuse, neglect, and a lack of supervision in the centers, and attributed partial responsibility for another 6 residents. Incidents include one resident smothering and eventually killing another resident, while the employee in charge skipped rounds. Another resident spent months suffering from an infection caused by a misplaced feeding tube that staff failed to notice before finally succumbing to their ailment. Allegations of horrific deaths and abuses were revealed last year by an organization dedicated to investigative reporting, including 36 cases of alleged rape and molestation where one child was produced. AB 1405 has been referred to the Assembly Human Services Committee and the Assembly Committee on Accountability and Administrative Review. The measure is expected to be heard in the committee by the end of May.
This is Al and Robert for KZGN-TV. We're here to remind you of the upcoming meeting this Wednesday with the county supervisors who are making the long trip over the hill to come and hold a hearing on the county's land management plan. Now, the meeting will be in City Council chambers at 1 in the afternoon. It's important that you be there at this meeting. This will be our last opportunity to speak on this issue before the supervisors vote. But I came across some interesting quotes we want to share with you just to inspire you a little bit. This is from Martin Luther King, and he said, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy." And these are definitely challenging times, and this is very controversial. So you need to come out and make your voice heard, whether you're opposed or in favor.
You need to speak out because if you don't, then there will be people that will have their rights violated.
Not to speak is to speak, okay? So if you're not down there, you're sending a message. So not to speak is to speak.
Correct. And not to act is to act. So you definitely want to partake in our government, and you definitely want to attend that meeting, and you definitely want to have your opinion heard by the supervisors.
Again, Wednesday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, City Council chambers. Be there.
Yes.
And we'll see you Thursday.
Thursday, yes. We'll be talking with Lorelei Obiad.
Right.
I want to clarify that Al and Robert are speaking for themselves and not me, my wife, KZGN, or our staff. Stay with us for KZGN's News Talking Points when we come back. Now it's time for the 42nd KZGN News Talking Points editorial. How should the county vote on the land use management plan tomorrow? Well, before I start today's editorial, there are still comments coming in about last week's editorial, and I have additional news I have received since then. The editorial asks, should the city fund private industry only to get sued by one of those companies? Additional comments are as follows. Larry asks, so is Protexta going belly up? Peter said, not going belly up. I heard the head dude and city staff got into a nit match. So the guy at Protexta got mad and decided to say, screw Ridgecrest, and is looking to move operations out of the town. Now the update. I have learned that Protexta is dropping their claim against the city. Yes, they did lay off some people in February, and Councilwoman Lori Acton is one that got laid off. I heard that they have received their entire cash payment for their whole contract now. They are doing okay financially. They are not planning any move out of Ridgecrest. Note, their contract with the city states that if they did move out of Ridgecrest, they would have to return the grant money they received from the city. Now on to today's editorial. The topic of today's editorial is, how should the county vote on the land use management plan tomorrow? Well, tomorrow is the big Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting here in Ridgecrest. It happens tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. It'll be at the Ridgecrest City Council chambers at City Hall. This will really be the last time people can provide inputs to them before they vote to approve or not approve. Believe me, even if you have already attended any previous meetings either at City Hall or any other venue in the Valley before, you need to attend this meeting as well. Nothing you have said in the past will replace you actually showing up before the whole board and making your comments. Be silent and others will speak for you, and you might not like the outcome. You might not like the outcome anyway, but if you sit home and say nothing, then you'll have to live with whatever everyone else decided without your inputs. I know many of you believe that it's probably decided already, so why should I waste my time going there? I'm here to tell you that the people can influence the decision. Don't fall into the apathy belief. You can make a difference by voicing your opinion tomorrow. Now onto the topic. I'm glad I'm not on the board of this one. Many hold the argument that we've done nothing for so long, we have to start doing something now. I agree that water conservation is necessary. I can't dispute that some people in the county areas have their well levels dropping. But as far as the county plan goes, it really doesn't do much to change the situation. Yes, as supporters say, at least it's doing something. I just wish it did more to prepare us for the future. I wish the plan included recommendations for providing a solution to import more water. It doesn't. I wish that the plan would better provide more guidance for conservation in the areas not under the Indian Wells Valley Water District. The people served by the Water District are under mandatory conservation requirements. The people that have their own wells aren't. So I don't see the plan addressing and making the suffering equal to all the residents of the valley. I know that might not be popular with county residents, but I have to ask, how about joining us in this conservation? If the plan gets approved, current agricultural farms will be allowed to continue, sharing in no conservation requirement the city has. The plan only stops new agriculture from developing. How about the plan recommending some real long-term suggestions? I've heard many suggestions for long-term planning, such as, how about a pipeline from somewhere to here? Consider this. How about a resolution from the Kern County Board of Supervisors encouraging the state to stop delays in building the necessary infrastructure to build water storage capabilities? Stop the nonsense of letting 74% of the fresh water that falls in California annually from flowing out into the Pacific Ocean via the San Francisco Bay. How about building the necessary water storage facilities we need to capture that water in good rain and snow years? If we saved that water and it was available for farmers in the Central Valley, then they would not need water from, say, the Kern River that flows into Lake Isabel. That water then would be available for some other use. How about a pipeline from the Kern River into the Indian Wells Valley? And I'm not suggesting keeping water from Lake Isabel there. I'm only suggesting that in good snow runoff years that surpasses the needs to make the lake viable again, that they make any overflow available. Sure, it would be expensive, but this country builds pipelines everywhere, so why not here? So join us at the meeting tomorrow afternoon. In conclusion, I don't think the plan goes far enough and is fair to all the residents of the valley. Some people get hurt more than others. If everyone agrees we need to do something, then let's do something as a whole, not just attack some. I'm Tom Wicknick, and that's what I think. I'd like to know what you think. If you have any comments about this editorial or would like to discuss or recommend a topic, I'd like to hear from you. Please email them to info@kzgn.net. Stay with us. We'll be back with sports and weather after the break. Thanks for staying with us. Let's go to Keith for the weather.
Thank you, Tom. Regionally, widespread rainfall, which could be moderate to heavy at times, is forecast across parts of the southern plains tonight, mainly across southern Texas. Flood watches and warnings are in effect across much of Texas and into Oklahoma and Arkansas. Temperatures across the nation. Massachusetts came in today at 69, Carolinas both at 83, Louisiana 82, Kansas at 63, North Dakota 58, Idaho 61, Oregon 51, San Francisco 57, and Los Angeles at 64. And for us here in the IWV, tonight, mostly clear with a low around 56, breezy with a southwest wind 20 to 25 miles per hour with gusts as high as 35. Wednesday will be mostly sunny with a high near 80, south-southwest wind 15 to 20 miles per hour with a gust as high as 30. Wednesday night, partly cloudy with a low around 56, breezy with a southwest wind 10 to 20 miles per hour with gusts as high as 25. Thursday, partly sunny with a high near 72, south-southwest wind 10 to 20 miles per hour with gusts as high as 25. Thursday night, a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms before 11 p.m. Mostly cloudy with a low around 52. South-southwest wind 15 to 20 miles per hour with gusts as high as 25. And on Friday, slight chance of showers with thunderstorms possible before 11 a.m. Partly sunny with a high near 67. West-southwest wind 5 to 10 miles per hour, gusts as high as 15. Chance of rain is 20%. And that is a look at your forecast. Now back to Tom and the rest of your KZGN news.
Thanks, Keith. Now let's go to Tom Heck for the sports report.
And a very pleasant, windy Tuesday afternoon to everybody. Let's start local sports. This afternoon, Burroughs baseball, Burroughs in action against Sultana. Now that's a very important two-game series this week. They'll play Thursday at Sultana. They're tied for second place with a 6-2 record with the Sultans. If they can come up with a couple wins this week, they'll be the number 2 team as we start the playoffs next week. And number 1 team gets a home game, 2 team 50-50, but if you go as a number 3 team, they're put on the road somewhere. So the Burroughs need to win these games this week to try to get a home game and go as a number 2 seed from the Mojave River League. All right, softball in action also. They're over at Serrano. The girls will be home for the last regular season game Thursday against Serrano. They're right there on the bubble for the playoffs, so they are too in the hunt for some postseason play. All right, by now you've all heard about the Deflategate. Tom Brady, he got 4-game suspension. Whether we think it's right or wrong, my question is, let's just use the same football. That would remedy everything. However, they'll never probably do that. They do it in every other sport. Why not football? So Tom Brady, he's going to appeal the suspension, and who knows? Every time it gets in that appeal process, crazy things happen. So we'll see. Right now, the NBA named their champion yesterday for their MVP award, and that was Stephen Curry. Curry then promptly led Golden State to an easy win last night over Memphis, 101-84. That game played in Memphis. Game 5 will be Wednesday night in Oakland. The series tied 2-2. Golden State was the number 1 team from the West. Memphis, the number 8 team from the West. Also, the number 1 from the East played yesterday. Atlanta, they beat Washington over in the nation's capital, 106-101. That series now tied at 2 apiece. Game 5 will be in Atlanta Wednesday night. Okay, tonight the Clippers will be down in Houston. If the Clippers win tonight, they win the series in 5 games. They lose, they'll come home and play on Thursday night at Staples Center. The Clippers playing awfully well right now. They have just routed Houston the last 2 games. Also, tonight we'll see a very good matchup between the Chicago Bulls and the Cleveland Cavaliers. That series also knotted up at 2-2. Major League Baseball yesterday, the Dodgers win again. They do it in fashion. In the 9th inning, they score 3 runs to win a 5-2 contest over the Colorado Rockies. The Rangers win again yesterday. They beat the Royals. The Rangers have won 6 of 7, playing pretty good baseball. Orioles also won. Milwaukee wins again. The Brewers all of a sudden starting to hit the win column. The Pirates win. The Cubs win, and also the Nationals. The Nationals might be one of the hottest teams in baseball too. Bryce Harper now 6 home runs in his last 4 games. The Nationals have won 6 of 7 also. All right, tonight the Angels in Colorado with the Big A. The Angels off last night. The Angels finished a 4-game series over the weekend. They split 2-2 with Houston. The Astros in first place. The Angels still a game under 500 in the West. Now, Colorado, incidentally, was faced with snow this past weekend. They hosted the Dodgers for 3 games. One of those games was shortened Friday night because it started snowing. Saturday it snowed so hard that the field was covered with all white. It looked like football season, the Denver Broncos. And then they worked feverishly for hours to clear the snow, and the Dodgers played the Rockies on Sunday. Dodgers won that game. The Rockies back in action tonight with the Angels. Stay tuned for the Tuesday night Ridgecrest Talk. I've got Chris Branson and his son Corbin. Chris will be speaking about all the activities in the IWV for youth sports, both club and junior high, along with some high school. His son Corbin plays on the 5th grade team at Las Flores. They were involved in the championship game this past weekend here at Saracosta in the 5th grade league. That's your sports for this Tuesday. Hang on to your hats. Pretty windy out there. Tom Heck for KZGN.
So that's the news for today. All of us at KZGN-TV know you have a choice in what you watch for news. We all thank you for choosing KZGN-TV, Ridgecrest's only community TV station. Now stay with us for a great video showing a walrus doing an exercise routine.
Silva has strong belly muscles. He's training a lot every day for belly. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Oh, it's very hot. We are tired.